Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam and this is a white dogwood. This is the beautiful white dogwood, Cornus, Florida. Dogwoods can ultimately reach probably 25 feet in height and 25 feet in width. These white native dogwoods to the eastern US grow in a very wide-ranging area, all the way up to zone 5 and down to zone 9. Your dogwood's not going to be that fast growing in the ground. We can get a couple feet out of these in a single season in a nursery setting, probably a foot or less in the ground. Sun and shade is tricky on dogwoods. In zone 5 and 6, you can definitely aim for more sun. As you get into zone 7, 8, and 9, I think you're definitely going to want to put them in a shadier space along the edge of other trees, but you can't put them in the shade. This is not a tree that can be planted under the canopy of other trees and do well. It gets some foliar problems if the leaves don't dry out quickly in the morning. So on the edge of a wooded space in the south and out in more sun in the north. It's sometimes hard to find a great place to grow a dogwood. They don't get quite big enough to offer a lot of shade. They get too big to be planted up near the house, really. They need to be in a space where they're being offered some shade from some other trees, especially in the south. So you need to find the right spot for them. They're really very, very happy on the edge of a wooded space. If you see where they're growing in the southeast United States, they're usually right on the edge of a wood line where they're getting lots of sun in the morning and not so much in the afternoon. They're being offered some protection from larger trees. Of course, the primary feature for anyone on dogwoods is the white flowers that they get along the stems in mid-spring, April in zones 8 and 9, closer to May in zones 5, 6, and 7, which is quite beautiful. Eventually that becomes a red fruit that the birds absolutely love in the late fall and winter. It gets beautiful red foliage as long as the foliage stays in pretty good shape. You can see on this one that there's definitely some issues that they typically will get on the foliage during the season, especially in a nursery where we're overhead irrigating them. That's part of the issue on those. Overall, this is just a tree that always has something going on. The foliage is beautiful, the flowers are beautiful, the red fruit is beautiful, and the fall foliage is beautiful. I've included videos in the description of this video for planting woody trees and shrubs. This is a plant you're probably going to want to have fairly good drainage on. If you have heavy clay, I'd definitely mix some pine bark soil conditioner, something in that will allow it to drain pretty well. If you have sandy soils, you could put a little bit of peat moss in it, but I would really aim toward this tree drying out between rains and waterings and maybe being more reliant on you watering it. This is not a tree that I'd want to sit and be wet in between rains. The first year your dogwood's in the ground, you're going to want to check the watering on it, dig down a little bit. If you've planted it high and dry, you are going to have to do some watering on it in the first year. A very well-established dogwood is very drought tolerant, but they can shed some interior leaves in the summer if they become too dry. It will also take away from the fall color if your leaves end up very damaged throughout the summer. So do check it. If it becomes abnormally dry in your area, you can dig down around it. When you water this thing, water the entire space around it, not just directly at the base of the plant, because you want to encourage it to root out into that surrounding soil. The time to fertilize a dogwood would be before it wakes up in the late winter or early spring. Any kind of slow release fertilizer, something that lasts 3 to 4 months would be ideal. Just spread it out evenly under the drip line of the tree. Dogwoods are surprisingly tolerant of pruning. I have actually sawed one of these off down to 3 feet and it comes right back from it. It's incredible what these things will actually tolerate because they get all kinds of problems, and I'm going to tell you about those in a minute. But for some reason, you can just saw these things off. Before you decide to ever dispose of a dogwood that might be in trouble, consider taking a chainsaw and just cutting the thing off to 3 feet in height. Be careful, of course, in how you do it, but cut the thing off to 3 or 4 feet and see if it will recover that way, because I've done that before. I had one that was broken out in the top because another tree had broken it out, and I was pretty much going to get rid of it. Just sawed it off, left it there, just started to flush back out. It's an absolutely beautiful tree now. So that's a possibility. While they're small and you can reach them, you can definitely do some top pruning on them and make a fuller canopy in the future. They get some lower limbs on them that'll end up in your face eventually. You'll have to limb up in the future. You can do that in the late winter before they get leaves on them. That'd probably be the best time to do it. Now here's the bad part. Dogwoods get almost everything. They get all kinds of foliar problems, cankers, fungal problems, insect problems. Deer love to eat them. They get everything that comes along, it seems like. But mainly that's going to be on stressed plants. If you pick the proper space to plant these and don't over mulch them. Don't bury them too deep. Don't put them in an area that stays too wet. Get them where the foliage will dry out quickly in the morning. That will prevent the powdery mildew. Then they are really kind of rugged, tough plants, but any kind of stress that comes along can invite a whole world of pest problems. So what are you waiting for? Even you can grow the white flowering, red fruiting, red fall foliaged white dogwood. Thank you for watching my video, and if it was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Also comment below with any questions you have about dogwoods. Thanks again.